Hello, amazing entrepreneur. It's Tash Corbin here, and welcome to another episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. This is episode number 303, which means you can find all the relevant links and show notes for today's episode over at tashcorbin.com/303. Now, in today's episode, I have a really juicy resource for you as well. So make sure you jot down that link, tashcorbin.com/303, and come and grab your bonus with today's episode, because today we are creating a quarterly plan on a page. Now, this is one of the most powerful, practical, tangible things that I do for my business, and it is a really easy step-by-step process for you to follow. I'm going to walk you through it in today's episode, so let's dive on in.
I'm Tash Corbin, and this is the Heart-Centered Business Podcast.
Now, when it comes to having a plan for your business, the number one job of your business plan is that it gives you clarity and certainty on what you should be doing each day when you work in your business. That's its job. When you sit down to work in your business, you know what to do. And yet, for so many people, their business plans remain these large, unwieldy, verbose documents that just sit on the shelf and never actually get read. Or their business plan becomes a ginormous to-do list of 11 billion different things, and it's not prioritized, it's not clear, it's not strategic, and you end every day feeling like you'll never overcome this mountain of tasks that's sitting in front of you. So if you are feeling like you're one or the other, or maybe you're both, you've got a giant business plan and strategy that you never look at, and then you've got a giant list of things to do that you never feel like you're going to complete, then this is going to be a particularly powerful episode for you, because we are going to use a simple, short-term, focused process to give you a quarterly business plan on one page. On one page, being able to look at that on any day of the quarter and know what you need to focus on. So this one-page quarterly plan is something that I still use every quarter in my business. I have it in front of me at my desk. I pin it in the front of my journal so that it's there in front of me. I see it regularly. I see it on the daily, and it keeps me focused on those things that are going to move my business forward and stops me from getting distracted by busy but less important work. So I have got a template for you to fill in, and that is your resource that I have on offer today. So if you go to tashcorbin.com/303, there you'll find a link to download the template for my quarterly plan on a page. It also comes with some little instructions, but I wanted to do this podcast episode to walk you through the process as well, so that you know what to do step by step by step. So let's cover through the process first and foremost. Step one is to do what I like to call a Braindom. So this is writing down in a ginormous list all the tasks, all the goals, all the things you want to fix, all the things you want to change in your business in just one giant list. I like to set a timer for 15 minutes, and without censoring myself, without saying, oh no, I can't do that this month, or oh, that's not going to be able to be possible, without thinking it through or in any way, shape or form, even prioritizing it, just get it all down. Because if you're carrying those things in your head and you don't actually get them down on paper, you will continue to carry them around even if you know that they're not a priority right now. So we want to make sure everything gets a spot. That way it clears it out of your brain and you don't feel like you have to keep carrying these things around. So set a timer for 15 minutes or so and just write everything down. If you had the most perfect, the most productive, the most effective quarter of your life, what would be all the things you would want to do, achieve? What would be the goals? What would be the things you'd want to fix? What are the things you want to create? Put it all down on paper, just in a list, as long as you can create in the timer that you've set. So that's number one, is get it all down. Number two, then what we need to do is categorize each item into one of four categories. Category 1 is outcome. So I like to do this in color coding. You might like to do this with putting numbers at the start of each, or marking them as different things. But we want to categorize into 4 categories. Category 1 is outcomes. That is all the things that are like goals, things that you don't have direct control over. It's not something you're producing or creating. It's something that you're receiving or achieving. So your income goal would be an outcome. Growing your list by 1,000 people would be an outcome. Having 5 new people sign up as VIPs would be an outcome. 10 more leads for your VIP package. That would be an outcome, because you don't have control over that. You can influence it, and your actions, your outputs, the things that you do can contribute to that outcome, but ultimately it's an outcome. It's something that you receive or achieve. Yeah. So I want you to categorize all of those as outcomes. The second category is outputs. This is all the things you're going to create, all the things you're going to do. So if you want to run a webinar, that's an output. If you want to set up a new lead magnet, that's an output. If you want to post on social media every day, that's an output. If you want to hire a new team member, that's an output. All the things you want to do, right? The tasks, the things you want to create. You want to write a book. You want to finish that chapter. You want to deliver 4 special live calls for your course clients. You want to create a new onboarding process for your VIPs, right? Anything that you want to create, anything that you want to do, anything that you have direct control over. I want to do this. I want to achieve this. I want to accomplish this. I want to do this thing in my business. And regardless of whether it's you or your team doing it, what are the outputs that you want to generate in this quarter, right? So that's the second category, is outputs. The third category is inputs. So you might want to work less than 20 hours a week. That's an input. You might want to hire a new team member, right? And that team member work 20 hours a week. That's input, right? I've got 20 hours of VA per week. Or it might be that you want to keep your expenses under $5,000 a month. That's an input. You want to spend an extra $1,000 on Facebook ads per month. That's an input, right? The things you put into your business. So it's usually money, time, energy, and team members. Time and energy. Yeah. So you might also decide that one of the most important things for you in inputs is that you are having boundaries around like working less than 4 hours a day, or you don't want to work on weekends, right? You're creating some extra boundaries around the inputs or what you give to your business. Then I would categorize those as inputs. And then the final one is lifestyle. So lifestyle is the things that contribute to your lifestyle or important lifestyle outcomes or goals. So for example, if you also have in there, you want to go for a walk every day, or you have in there that you want to take a meditation class, or you want to work with a new kinesiologist, or you want to, have a green smoothie each day, right? So some of those more lifestyle oriented goals, but they might also contribute to like the way that you show up in your business as well. So it's totally up to you how you set the rules around these categories. But what I want you to do first and foremost is when you categorize those 4 things, right? When you categorize them as outputs, outcomes, inputs, and lifestyle, what do you notice about the balance of how you've categorized them? What a lot of people see is that when they write down all the things they want to achieve, all the things they want to do in their business, all the things that, all the things they want to fix, all the things they want to take care of, they're mostly focused on outputs, right? All the things they want to do, right? It's all very action orientated. And it's not necessarily, they haven't even thought about inputs, right? The time that they put in, or they haven't even thought about their lifestyle, or, to what extent are they willing to give their time and energy to their business? So it's just a great way to just pay attention to the way that you automatically think about your business and make a decision about whether you want to continue doing it that way, or if you want to make some changes. So something that I like to do is when I've done that big brain dump of all of the things is then see, do I have a balance between outcomes, outputs, inputs, and lifestyle, right? You'll naturally have more outputs, right? Because in order to achieve the outcome of 6 sales, you need to probably generate like 6 outputs per sale. Yeah, right. There's things that you need to do. You need to run your webinar. You need to get your content out. You need to do some lead generation, right? You need to show up on social media. There's all these things that you need to do to get that one outcome. So I understand that you're going to generally have a lot more outputs, and that is reflected in the way that we do this process. But at the same time, if you haven't put anything in there about looking after yourself, is that something you'd like to change? And for most people, it is something that they'd like to change. It is something that they'd like to be clearer on. So it just allows me to just reflect and see, first and foremost, even just in categorizing these things, have I missed something? Have I glossed over the fact that I have the kids home for school holidays for 2 weeks here and 4 weeks there. And so I'm going to have limited time and capacity to put these outputs out and to create these things in my business. Then step number 3 is to prioritize. So for each category, you want to put them in order of most important to least important. And this is a skill that takes practice, but just do it. Yeah, just you do it imperfectly the first time and you do a little bit better next time. It's better to prioritize imperfectly than to not prioritize at all. So what I generally recommend is you start with the outcomes. You might have an income goal and a list growth goal, and you might have in your outcomes, you might also have like an audience growth goal or reach on social media or something along those lines. So what is most important to least important? So for me, it's generally like my income goal is my number 1 outcome in my business most of the time. My list growth goal is generally around number 2 or number 3. And if I'm doing a launch, I might have a launch goal in there as well. But I rank them, right? And so it's just like asking the question, is this more important or less important than the one I just ranked? So put them in order from 1 to whatever number you've gone to. Yeah. And the same for outputs. Okay. With those outcomes, what output is the most important? What is the most important thing for you to do this quarter? And again, put them in order. Now, when I do this list, I'm usually working with 50 to 80 different things. And then when I categorize them, I might have like 5 to 10 outcomes and 40 outputs. So we're not categorizing like 3 things and then prioritizing 3 things. I want you to put everything down, because the stuff that goes to the bottom of the list, we're going to keep it, right? We might not get to it this quarter, but we're going to capture it so it's not weighing you down. Lovely. So again, you do that for inputs and lifestyle. Most important to least important. And then step 4 is to complete your quarterly plan on a page by selecting your top 3 outputs, your top 3 outcomes, your top 10 outputs, and the top 3 of your inputs and lifestyles combined. So let's say the number 1 input is you want to invest an extra $5,000 in Facebook ads. And then the number 2 input is you want to work less than 20 hours a week. And the number 1 lifestyle goal is you want to go for a walk every day. So they would be combined, right? I combine those. Input and lifestyle, I combine in this template. So we have your top 3 outcomes, your top 10 outputs in prioritized order, and your top 3 input and lifestyle goals / focus points combined. So what we've now done is captured in one place what are your priorities for this quarter and what is most important for you to achieve, to do, and to ensure you keep boundaries around. Simple, effective, and easy. Now, the most important part of this process is once you've completed this quarterly plan on a page, keep it somewhere. You'll see it every single day. So as I said, for me, I have this in my planner, in my journal, and I also have this printed out and popped onto my wall. So I can see it. I can see my quarterly plan on a page at any time when I'm sitting down to work on my business. When I look at my goals for this week, I can check and reflect, do those things that I'm focused on this week actually line up with what my quarterly focus is? Or have I gone off on a tangent and I got myself really distracted? Now, the other thing this allows you to then see is the relationship between the outcomes you want to achieve and the outputs that you're focused on doing. So a lot of the time when I work with my VIP and one-to-one clients, and we also do this in the planning posse, which is my yearly planning group of people who do the Heart Centered Business Planning System with me every year. So one of the things that we do in there is we start looking at, okay, well, your top 3 outcomes are income, list growth, and VIP clients. And yet your outputs are all focused on getting you more reach, and they don't directly contribute to you achieving those outcomes. Or, some people will have a big income goal, and then the product that they want to focus on launching and selling is a $50 product. It's like you want to have a 100K quarter selling $50 products, but you haven't put in your inputs that you have $50,000 worth of Facebook ad spend, which is what you'd be required to reach and make those number of sales that you want to be making. And so it allows you to just also take that helicopter view of your business and ensure that the plan of what you're going to do matches up with the goals that you want to achieve. So it's a really good little test and check to make sure things are lined up. So as I said, I've actually got this all for you in a template, and you can grab that by coming along to tashcorbin.com/303 and grabbing your quarterly planning template and instruction guide over with the show notes of today's episode. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me over on Instagram, or come and share using #podcastaha in the Heart Centered Soul Driven Entrepreneurs Facebook group. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Heart Centered Business Podcast. Until next time, I cannot wait to see you shine. Bye for now.
Would you like more tips, tools, and resources to help you grow your heart-centered business? Head to tashcorbin.com today.